You dumbass of the day.
I have a problem with religion. I have a problem with organized religion. And if there's any clergy members here, I'm sorry. Here's my thing, and it's not the 10 years of Catholic school and the 20 years of therapy. That's a separate issue. That's my own thing. Here's my thing. How do you know you picked the right religion? How do you know? There's a million different gods. You know what I mean? There's a Jew, Gentile, Catholic, Protestant, Miss Cleo. There's a million different damn religions. They all can't be the right one, you know? And when do you find out if you picked the right one? When you're dead. And then it's too late. What happens? You get to the pearly gates and they're all Jehovah's Witness. All of a sudden, you're the one standing on the porch, pounding on the door. Let me in. They're the ones hiding behind the curtains. Wish you took a pamphlet now, don't you, smart guy?
Dumbass of the day. 93.3.
Oh, man, I dodged them, man.
That's why when, Jeremy, you think it's funny to answer the door naked when they come to your door?
No, I just dodge them.
Maybe that's the right religion.
I dodge them now. I see him coming down the driveway, and I'm like,
turn off the lights, everybody be quiet.
This is the one thing I love about having the reverse floor plan where the upstairs is the living area and the downstairs is the bedrooms, and then there's a hallway to the front door.
That people enter in through that area.
Yeah, so I see him coming from up above. I'm like in a watchtower.
Yeah. It's like you're a fire. What do they call those guys that live in the wilderness? They go walk up that fire. What is it?
Fire lookout. Park rangers?
The fire lookout.
The fire lookout itself.
The fire lookout. They live there for like 6 months, and their job is to get the binoculars out and look on the horizon, see if they see any smoke plumes. That is what you have going with the Jehovah's Witnesses.
And by the way, that guy's funny, and that's a funny joke. But nobody picks their religion. You are just you're given it. Your parents pick it for you. I mean, I guess some people may.
That's not true. That's not true.
For the most part, I don't think anybody just goes out and seeks religion. I think you just kind of get stuck with it when you're a kid. But
if you like to read, sometimes I've realized those people pick their religion. Chad England picked his religion, and he may have picked the wrong one. He was driving under the influence, and that I'm going to say that this is to put it lightly. Okay. A search of his car revealed 6 grams of marijuana, a little over a half gram of cocaine, a pipe, rolling papers, and a bottle of Crown Royal, which was 75% empty. An empty bottle, another smaller empty bottle of Crown Royal, and several cans of paint that seemed to be used for huffing. Okay,
sounds like a good Tuesday.
This guy was under the influence, to say the least. All right. He flipped his car over 5 times under the influence, and when police came to him and they say, "Hey, what happened here?" His excuse was, "Well, while I was driving down the interstate in Tennessee, Jesus came to me and said, 'Chad, let go of the wheel.'"
And I said, "Jesus, take the wheel."
He said, "You got this, Jesus?"
Like Carrie Underwood said, "Jesus, take the wheel, damn it, here you go."
He said, "You got this, Jesus?" He's like, "I got this, Chad. Just let me take the wheel." And maybe that happened because you know what? He needed a big 2x4 upside the head to say, "Hey, quit huffing cans of paint, drinking Crown Royal, and doing
Smoking doobies.
coke and marijuana while driving down the road."
Jesus, wow. Can you imagine? That sounds like a lethal combination. Huffing and coke, Crown, marijuana, and driving.
The THP, that's Tennessee Highway Patrol, say that when they arrived on the scene of the accident, Chad was speaking gibberish and trying to flee the scene while carrying a jar with him. Who knows what the hell was in the jar? The guy's car flipped 5 times.
Wow.
And he was able to flee the scene.
That's awesome.
Maybe Jesus did have a hand in that.
Yeah, maybe he helped him out. You had to get him out of that car.
Christ.
That car was the problem. It was the devil, Bobby.
Literally Christ.
Hi, go ahead.
Hey, you were talking about living in your watchtower and watching out for the religious folk coming to your house, and I just thought it was relevant that the name of the Jehovah's Witness pamphlet is the Watchtower.
Oh, my gosh. You are absolutely correct.
It is?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I didn't know
It
that.
is. Oh, my gosh. How amazing. Wait, is there a divine... divine intervention here going on?
Is that Jehovah
no,
talking to
you're
me?
being recruited. I think you're in charge now.
Okay, I'll be a great little Jehovah's Witness from my house, but I'm still celebrating Christmas and my birthday. All right.
All right.
Thanks.
All right.
I remember we met in second grade. I learned what Jehovah's Witness was, and I mean not fully, but we had two girls, and they wouldn't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and everybody looked at them like, "What the hell's wrong with these two? Why aren't they doing what we're doing?" And then there was at Christmas time they couldn't participate. They couldn't participate in Valentine's Day. No holidays, no gifts, and then I come to find out they'd never got a present in their life, and at least during the holidays.
And you felt bad for him.
And I was mad. Yeah. I was like, well, I don't know who this Jehovah is, but he's some bitch. I was mad. And I went home and I told my parents, I'm like, man, I can't believe this. This is child abuse, man. They don't get presents. This is crazy.
We had two, one of them, they're both actually really good. Well, one of the brothers is really good friends of mine, and the other one is friends through brother. But they were both, they're really, really strict Jewish kids. And we played our basketball games on Friday night and like Tuesdays or something weird like that in our league. And Brad and his brother both went out for the basketball team, but because they were staunch Jews, and they practiced everything from within the religion. And I think it was a Friday night, maybe it was a Thursday night. I'm not sure. I think it's Friday night. Whichever night it was, they couldn't participate. So they go out for the basketball team, and there's no mention of their religion. Nobody even thinks about it. It's no big deal. They go out for the basketball. They try out, and they both make varsity. Right? And then after the season starts, they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, coach, we can't play on Friday nights because."
You have to go to church, or
because that's part of their religion.
Oh,
there's somehow in their religion they're not supposed to do anything after sundown on Friday nights. Okay, and I don't even know if it's Jewish or if it's some form of Judaism.
So why did you want to play basketball if you couldn't play in the game?
That's what our coach's response was. Now in this day and age, there's no way that you could get away with that, right? Like the coach could not say, "Well, you can't be on the team because you're Jewish," or something.
But when we were kids, like, all right, well, you're off the team.
Yeah,
like, I need players.
He's like, why'd you guys turn out for the team then? You guys are taking up 2 roster spots. And it was a big hullabaloo because a lot of people were mad because they did not make the team. And there was the 2 guys sitting on junior varsity that could have been brought up. So what the school did was they were able to split time between 2 members of the junior varsity team, bring those guys up for the Friday games. And then for the Tuesday games, they had to go back down to JV. Needless to say, it drove a wedge in the basketball team because, you didn't know you couldn't get that cohesive unit going, And it was.
I mean, I don't know how I feel about this because I realize that religion and what parents want to put on their kids is kind of important, and that's the way they raise their kids. But at the same time, should my kids or affect the rest of the kids that are on this basketball team?
Because what it ended up doing is it ended up affecting the entire ecosystem of the basketball structure in that school for an entire high school. I mean, not only the people participating, but then also the fans that go to the games, the families of those kids that were playing part of the time on JV and part on Tuesdays they got to play on JV, and then on Fridays they got to play under the lights. I mean, it was really strange, and it's something I will never forget. And I forget what the religion was, but I'm pretty sure it was Judaism, and it was just strange. It was just such a strange.
Yeah, they got a lot of strange rules, that's for sure.
So we're asking you the question this morning, okay? And this happens with a lot of religion. This happens with a fair amount of religion. There are rules to live by in religion. Does your religion prohibit you from doing something that most other people get to do?
543-3693. You can also hit us up on the social networks at Jeff and Jeremy.
And if so, do you cheat?
You might.
I remember talking to Brad about it, and Brad was like, "Dude, I wish I could play. I mean, I would play, but my folks, there's no way that this would fly in our household." I mean, I thought when I went out for the team,
Everybody cheats.
I thought when I went out for the team that I'd be able to convince my parents that, hey, I'm going to be on the team. Let me play on Friday nights. And there's just no convincing them.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that really sucks. I think
because when you're a kid,
Brad
this is kind of forced on you, and it's not like something you choose. So it's hard for you to get behind it. Maybe at some point in your life, as you get older and you understand it better or whatever, then you start to understand it and you start to get behind it. But I think most kids, like all the kids that had super religious parents, those kids were always in the most trouble. They were the ones that started drinking first, smoking first.
Brad, by the way, sells weed in Alaska. He does. We're asking you the question this morning, 543-3693 on the 805 Beer text line. That's also the phone line to call in, and on our various social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter. That's at Jeff and Jeremy. Does your religion restrict you from anything that most people get to do? And if so, do you cheat? Now, Mary writes in on the Facebook page, and she says, I grew up Mormon. Enough said. Is that, do you
pretty strict religion?
I don't know.
I think so. I think I have some friends that were Mormon.
There is not enough said, except for the fact that you don't have to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. You don't get to celebrate Christmas. You don't get to celebrate Halloween, Valentine's Day. Schools, in an effort to be more sensitive now, they don't allow that to happen anyways. Like if your kids are in public school and there's like a Halloween type thing, what they'll do is they don't want to offend any religions with Halloween celebrations. So what they do is they call it Spirit Day, and everybody can dress goofy if they want, or they'll give it a certain theme. Like they'll be like, 80s dress up day. So instead of your kid going like a skeleton, they have to go as Olivia Newton-John. That's how the workaround is with that. So they allow the kids to be goofy and silly, but they don't do it under the pretenses of anything that would offend any religions, which means that's a lot of hard work on the behalf of school boards, because they have to figure out, okay, is this insensitive, and is this going to offend anybody? If so, we need to go with plan B.
I know a lot of people, family, friends that were very religious growing up, meaning that they belonged to a church. The church took money from their paychecks. They religiously went, pun intended, to services and things like that. But they all cheated in some way, shape, or form. Nobody is 100%.
Apparently, I'm thinking, according to the text line, I'm thinking Jehovah's Witnesses, not Mormons. I don't know the difference, to be honest with you.
Well, there's a difference, but I'm not a religious person either. I know they're different religions, but I wouldn't be the person to ask about it.
I don't know. This is one of those times when I'm going to admit ignorance. I have not a clue, because it does not affect me. And if it does not affect me, it really, I don't care to learn about it.
Is it bad, Jeff, that I look at all these religions for the most part, and I feel like they're not Lutheran, because I've been around a lot of Lutherans, but the rest of them, Mormons and Jehovah's Witness and Scientology, they're all kind of cults. Like, to me, it's what they all remind me of. I have a friend that was Mormon. He couldn't really date anybody outside the Mormon church. He had to only date and then marry and then,
but there's varying,
have children with Mormon women.
There's varying levels of it too, though, and that's why we're asking you the question this morning. If your religious affiliation requires you to act in a certain way, do you cheat? Because I swear, 95% of the people I know that are religious, or they claim religion, they cheat on whatever their rules of their religion are.
Hi, thanks for hanging on. Go ahead. Are you there? I hear you.
Hello.
All right, moving on. Hi, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hi. Do you just need a clarification between Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons? Because you're...
I would love one.
Yeah, go ahead. Please help us.
Okay.
I would love it.
So Mormons do not drink coffee, tea. They can date outside of their religion, although you're encouraged to date within your religion, but there's no prohibition against it. Jehovah's Witnesses do not believe in celebrating the holidays. They don't believe in blood transfusions, that kind of thing. So
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
they're-
right. Like, if you need a blood transfusion, I believe they just, no. Sorry. If you need medical
You are
care.
supposed to go with the blood that God gave you.
I saw a Grey's Anatomy once where they had a patient come in that was a young boy, and he was very sick and he needed medical care. And they said their religion, no, God will do its course.
I had
and
a
get its
friend
on.
growing up who almost died because she was and I forget what the religion was. It wasn't Scientology, but it was in the religion. It was whatever God's plan was.
Sure, yeah.
You were not supposed to seek outside
Isn't that crazy?
medical advice. So she'd never taken Tylenol. She had never taken Advil, any kind of medicine.
Doesn't that seem backwards?
Any kind of sickness that she ever had, she had to work through.
I like to think I'm a pretty rational person, and I'm around rational people. That just doesn't make any sense to me. But
can I ask you a clarification on the Mormon thing? Also, what about chocolate? Is chocolate out too?
Chocolate is totally fine.
Okay.
It's only coffee, tea, and alcohol.
Why is it coffee and tea? What do they do to you?
It goes way back to like the 1800s, where there was a revelation, for lack of a better term, right now, that coffee and tea was not good for the body. It was more for use as a with medicinal purposes. For like tobacco was to be used for healing wounds and that kind of thing. Tea, the same thing.
all right. So, are you Mormon, or did you ever be?
I am, but not particularly practicing. But I do kind of know the background.
Okay, no, that's good. That's good.
Is there anything that you cheat on?
Well, I don't really practice anymore, so I guess I cheat on everything.
So you're like, Starbucks, here I come.
But actually, after growing up Mormon, you find that I don't really drink coffee, not because of any religious reason, but because I just never developed a taste for it.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you were younger, now they say coffee, every study comes out that it's only beneficial to the body. It's funny that you bring up that they thought it wasn't, but it's only beneficial to the body. Now, every study that they've
there was one
done.
last night that made it to the news that said that in California, there's a chemical that is in coffee, but it's also in potato chips and fries that they're going to start adding a warning label to in California saying that it's a cancer-causing chemical. But
every other study that's been done is saying the antioxidants in coffee is good for fighting cancers. But anyways, hey, thanks for the call. We really, really appreciate you kind of clarifying a few things for us.
Good morning.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning on 93.3 KZOZ.